Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today's February 5th, 2019. First, I want to thank Camera Store for sponsoring this channel. And second, let's start talking about last week and film apocalypse, if you want to call it film apocalypse. It looked like the sky was falling on the film world. We had the Tetenal Sand News, which you guys saw me. It was pretty emotional because I actually know some of the workers personally. And then we had the Kodak Alaris trying to sell some of their assets and whatnot. So I'm going to start by bits. I want to do first a very in-depth video on each situation to explain it to the film community here on the YouTube channel. But let's start with Tetenal basically has been declared bankrupt by a judge. When they presented the insolvency, a judge had to go, and check their accounts and see how it would be profitable if an investor would come and whatnot. After a while of, negotiations or, exchanges and meetings, but they decided the company is not, going to be able to survive. So they've declared bankruptcy. They're closing down. That will be done April 1st. But meanwhile, some of the people in the company have decided to make an offer to buy out what is left or what there is of Tetenal. So there's a new website called newtetenal.de, Germany. Or Deutschland, that is basically saying they have all the information. The statement is that they're going to try to continue. Does it mean that's for sure all going to continue? No, it's not. But it does mean that there is a future in Tetenal, and that's what we all need. For those who don't know all the story about Tetenal and how it affects things, there's actually a pretty good article in Petapixel, which is rare to see a very good article in Petapixel, that has a closer look at Tetenal at photo film that's too important to fail. It talks about how Tetenal does 30% of Kodak's chemistry, at least in Europe. It talks about how it does 100% of Ilford's developers, I think worldwide. That it does export some of the raw chemistry to the US for Kodak to mix or whatever it is. They do the chemistry for most film studios, and I mean film like movies. So the one in the UK, actually my brother was building that one. It's Pinewood, if I'm not wrong. Studios has a Kodak lab in there. They all use ECN2 from Tetenal, which is a big deal. So yeah, if it went down, the whole movie cinematography industry would probably disappear or almost disappear. And that would probably run Kodak into a very bad spot because of their chemistry not being able to develop their film for movies. Then the directors would change to digital or stop making movies like some said. And that would mean that Portra and other lines would be either affected or totally canceled. So yeah, Tetenal is a big deal. We all have to be concerned. We all have to be supportive, positive, of course. But I've been talking to my contact that talks to Tetenal, which is not directly in Tetenal, my contact, but external helper, who's Marwan from Photo Classic International. And he's told me that they're usually run batches of 10,000 liters and that this week they finalized a batch of 160,000 liters. So 16 times the normal run for one process. It could be C41, it could be ECN2, something like that. So the orders are super big. They're still running full force at the whole capacity, but what happens after April 1st is still kind of an incognito. We still don't really know. We do know there's some, chance that it will all just continue in a normal way. Yes, a lot of people are getting laid off. A lot of people are leaving by their own say. There's also a second party that was going to maybe try to rescue it, which I won't disclose because I don't think I'm supposed to. But if those workers can't, there's a few other people in the way that want to try to step up and keep Tetenal somehow producing chemistry for maybe not everyone, but for most of the industry. So that's basically how Tetenal is. I'll keep you guys very updated. I wish I could do more news during the week because this was kind of a big deal. But I kind of wanted to let things sit a little bit, see what happened, how it developed, and then give you guys the information when I have more, of a real picture of what's happening. Second big news, or bigger news, is sort of a clickbaity article. Kodak Alaris is trying to sell some of their assets. So I've said it here many times, but when Kodak went bankrupt, Chapter 11 in the US in, I don't know, 2012, 13, I can't remember exactly. What happened is Kodak was, officially bankrupt or almost bankrupt. And of course, again, a lot of things went on. And one of the things is there was a UK pension fund that was huge that there was no money for. So I think, and this is, I think, I'm not exactly sure, but what they offered this pension fund is, okay, you guys, there's no money, but we're going to continue with business because film's still selling and cinematography film is selling and all this stuff. But instead of being able to pay you off, we're going to give you the distribution and marketing of film still photography sales. And I say still photography because Kodak Rochester, the one that makes the film, is taking care of making film for the movies and selling and marketing film for movies. Super 8, 16 millimeters, 35, 65. They do, you know, all those kind of things. And the Super 8 camera, the scanner, all these things we've been talking about, that's Kodak Rochester. And their spin-off little company that started was Kodak Alaris, based in the UK. Andy Church was interviewed by me at Photokina. He's the one that announced the Ektachrome in 120 and 4x5 and larger coming soon. Those people are the ones that are just marketing and selling film, paper and such. So they don't actually produce anything. They only sell it, or let's say resell it, because they buy it from Kodak or they get it from Kodak and then sell it to the distributors in England, in the Spain, and the US, I guess the US, and whatnot. So Kodak Alaris has a huge debt, which I guess they inherited from that, business they did with Kodak back in the Chapter 11, and they're trying to sell the sales or management of those film sales, paper, blah, 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 to pay that debt or part of that debt. I guess they want to cash in because they want to get the money for, for whatever reason, but it doesn't mean Kodak in Rochester is selling their film assets and it might be gotten by a Chinese company and close it down. No, that is not what it means. But it does make a very clickbaity article to click. So everyone went crazy, but that is sort of what I think is the actual situation. As I'm saying, I have read into a few things. I have a knowledge of what's happening, sort of, but I can't say with my hands, down that it's all safe. There's nothing going to happen. Yes, we're all on our toes, but I think we all should be on our toes shooting film and, spreading the word. The more, the better. The better it is, the more people will start doing it or buying it, investing, banks and stuff. So for that reason, exactly the same thing with Tetenal. If Tetenal has the situation it has now with banks, when it starts, kicking off with a new Tetenal, the more we support it, the better it'll be towards the banks and whatnot. Because of course, banks are the ones giving you the money to start business and all these things. And we all know you want to have good credit score with banks, or, a good look with your banks. So that was all the crazy film apocalypse from last week. As I said, if there's any new developments, I'll keep you guys updated. But now to the normal news, the good news mostly. I'm going to continue in that line. There's Adox stepped in, and Adox actually said that they were not dependent of Tetenal. They were independent from them, but they were great partners throughout the years, so they did not want to see Tetenal go down. But they did have the capacity to bottle or even mix color chemistry. They're not doing it, but they could. And then Adox, Nico from Adox, posted setting up the chemical production. And in their new factory, they've been reporting weekly almost about how they're putting the floors, the concrete walls, and then they're actually starting to get new machines and some old machines to make big batches of chemistry. Probably for their own black and white fixers, stop bath developers and whatnot. But, it still is good to know there's smaller players that are still independent from catastrophes like Tetenals and whatnot. And I think Adox is a great, company for that kind of thing. Mirko is a great guy, and I think they're doing good work towards the film industry. Also from Adox, we have news about the Poliwarmtone project. As I said, it had been years without hearing much, but Mirko is not going to stop about it. And he finally had first test coating with real emulsion. So they have a picture of the emulsion, and they're going to start testing the photo, properties of this paper. But it's very exciting because I know a lot of people love the Poliwarmtone from, I think it was Forte. and Adox will take the lead and continue hopefully very soon. In other news, we have Cinestill started a little web series, which makes like a nice name, but they're little video snippets of people shooting film, and they're actually very nicely produced, and I'm very excited to watch them as a YouTube content creator and YouTube watcher, subscriber of film stuff. I love seeing this, and the quality and the production is really nice. So I'll leave the link below for the Cinestill, but yeah, I can't wait, and hopefully we'll hear about Cinestill and sheet film very soon. Talking about sheet film, we have Stearman Press 8x10, the tray little device that they've been showing and talking about, and I've been sharing with you guys, is finally going on pre-sale. It's not on Kickstarter, it's not on Indiegogo, it's on their own weird website called productdev.stearmanpress. It's $123 for an 8x10 sheet, basically tray. And it has like a lid and the light baffles, and it has dividers for different sizes and whatnot. But they want to reach something like $26,000 for the molds and all that. So it's a pretty big amount if you consider, it's a $123. They have to sell a lot of them, but it's not that much if you have to make the molds. So if you're an 8x10 shooter, you bought an Intrepid, you're still kind of learning how to do it, and you don't want to go the more expensive route like the Jobo tanks, or maybe you don't trust the tray, you want to develop with light because you don't like getting in the dark, you don't have a darkroom, something like that. This little tray from Stearman Press is actually a pretty good idea. I support them, and I hope to see the product one day in my own hands. But yeah, if you want to support it, I'll leave the link below. Then we have news from New 55, or Famous Format. I say New 55 because everyone knows what New 55 is, but they are basically have improved their film, their PN55, positive and negative film, in 3 different ways. There's a new tongue, a new spread or pod, and a new little tape that's better. So they're slowly getting it better. Also, they're saying that whoever is buying it now, because you can still buy small limited quantities of the PN55, has to please let them know how the spread is, how the tongue, if the stop, it has a little clickety thing that when you pull it, the sheet stays there. When you shoot it, then you put the sleeve back in. Basically to give them information of how well or how not well it's working. So I'll leave the link below. I'm very excited to see this. I actually talked to Sam not so long ago about making maybe a bigger also article about the whole process of what's happened with New 55. But let's say it's not dead, it's still running, but it's basically 2 people running it, and very soon they're going to need a lot of people's support. So let's leave it there. Then we have the Voigtlander 35 and 21, the Ultron on the Coloscope bar, which I'm still due for the 35. Someone asked me the other day, and I feel really bad I haven't done it yet. Are finally listed on the Voigtlander.de or Deutschland website with all the details, because it was in the Japanese, but it's really hard to understand the Japanese website unless you translate it, and it's never perfect. So now in the German website you can see it in English. So you got the details, the design, and the weight, and all these things. I'm very excited to get my hands on one, hopefully very soon. But yeah, if you want a 35 f2 lens and you don't want to go the cheaper 7 Artisans route, now you have a cheaper option than the usual Leica or Zeiss, which is the Voigtlander, and I love Voigtlander lenses. And talking about that, I made a video, I think Monday or Sunday I posted it, shooting the Leica MDA and the 25 snapshot, which is actually just there, the box. And I really enjoyed shooting the Japan Camera Hunter Street Pan. I have to say I'm really impressed with how the film performed. And the scans were pretty terrible because I'm horrible at scanning. But then I printed it on Saturday, and I have to say the Japan Camera Hunter Street Pan 400 on paper looks amazing. The black, the tones, like there was silvery metallic look, looks so nice. That video is going to be dropping very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed a darkroom video from me, which I think I've never done. But yeah, I had to just say that because I feel good. I'll leave the link and put a little thing on the top. Then another news, the other day, one of the viewers, subscribers, Patreons, which actually is on the WhatsApp group, which thank you for those who joined the WhatsApp group from the last week. If you don't know, on Patreon, I'm doing a little thing, which if you're a Patreon, you can give me your number, go in a group, and we can have a personal conversation with a few followers, subscribers, and Patreon supporters. One of the users had a problem with a Beseler enlarger. And I think it's a 6x7 model right now. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he was getting an uneven exposure on the baseboard, on the paper, basically. So he was quite concerned. He's being, not being able to enlarge and do any contact prints or anything for a while. And he asked me for help. And I said I would go and contact Beseler, which I saw them at PhotoKeynote, and they were extremely nice. So I wrote them with pictures and examples of what was happening. And they very fast answered, helped us, told us that maybe the light bulb was bad, even though it was brand new. And I have to report that the user managed to change the light bulb and get perfect even exposures. So I have to say thank you, Beseler, Beseler, for answering my email, for helping. For those who think they're not there, they still are there. And it was great to see them supporting someone with a random question of an old product because it's discontinued now. So yeah, thank you for that. Then we have news from Lomography that's coming up with their Potsdam 120 film. For those who don't know, the Potsdam 120 film is basically Orwell film, cinematography film, but they're rolling it in 120 rolls. And that I have never seen before. So someone's cutting the pancakes and making the rolls in 120. It's very exciting because this film renders really nicely. And I know Lomography usually has a pretty high markup, but you know what? If you can't find it anywhere else, it is what it is. But yeah, it's very exciting and hope I can try it out very soon. So yeah, guys, that's all the news for this week. As I said, anything that comes from Tetenal or the Kodak Alaris selling their assets or whatnot, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. As always, you have an email that you can send me any information or things you think I might have left on the below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for Camera Store for sponsoring the video, and see you in the next one.